It's time for Around the Ozarks in 5, brought to you by Adventure Cave Tours. Live a day in the life of a real adventurer with Adventure Cave Tours. Springfield Greene County Park Board, reminding you to go play. Blue Current, moving you forward since 1929. Roto-Rooter Plumbing and Drain Service. Call Southwest Missouri's best plumber today for a free estimate. Here are your hosts, Ethan and Sarah Foreheads.
And we made it to Friday. Here we are. Happy Friday to you. Hope it's been a good week. If not, you can salvage it with the weekend. And it is we spring forward this weekend.
Yes, yeah.
Daylight saving time. So I'm excited about that. Not losing
when
an
you
hour
go
of
to
sleep.
bed Saturday night.
Yeah. I am excited about more daylight and warmer weather on the horizon. So let's start with some news.
All right, a harrowing story from a woman in Ava. She says a man grabbed her at the Ava cemetery and tried to kidnap her. She was able to escape, get to her car, and called police. The Douglas County Sheriff's Department and the Ava Police Department are looking for a possible kidnapper and investigating. Wow. Yes. Missouri legislature is considering a bill that considers drag shows as adult entertainment. It would classify any business that hosts drag shows as a sexually oriented business. That bill would also create penalties for engaging in a drag performance on public property or where it could be viewed by a child. The bill is being debated right now by committee and has not yet moved to the full House. Makes sense.
Also in the legislature, a bill to make it easier for older people to drive school buses. The House of Representatives voted to drop annual testing requirements for drivers 70 years old and older and move that required test to drivers starting at age 77 instead. The bill's now moving over to the state Senate. Right now, school districts across the state, you know this story. They lack enough drivers for their school buses. And the hope is that this would help with that problem. We'll see. Convoy of Hope, as you know, continues to respond to the wildfire that burned more than 1.3 million acres of ranch land in Texas and Oklahoma. Much of that land is grazing land for cattle, and that land's been destroyed, all that food. So Convoy of Hope is now delivering hay that's been donated to ranchers so they can feed their cattle, which is super cool. I think it's a great, just an out-of-the-box way of dealing with a disaster, to see the problem and then work to figure out a solution. And that solution is to get donated hay from other places that have hay, and then we drive it down. Convoy drives it down to the fire-affected area. And meanwhile, we know this now. We're told power lines started that fire, which is the mostly contained right now. I mean, they've really done a good job in the last several days of containing it, almost to the point where it's fully contained. But it has already become the biggest fire in Texas history. So that's saying something.
Yep. It is. All right. Teaching is a profession that more and more people are leaving. So why is the question? A new study of Missouri teachers shows that it's because of low pay, stress, and student behavior. The Missouri State Teachers Association conducted that survey. Stress was a growing problem for 77% of teachers, and student behavior was the cause of that stress. That according to 70% of teachers. Yeah. Many of them say that they have personally experienced or at least witnessed another teacher have a form of violence by a student directed at either them or one of their friend teachers.
Well, and we see that locally where teachers are concerned about discipline issues. They're concerned about the kids. Which is a shame. I mean, that just shows that as parents across the board, we are not doing our jobs. If the kids are that unruly, disrespectful, those problems start at home, and then they get worse in schools when teachers maybe don't feel like they have the power to do anything. It's a tough situation. I don't know how do we work ourselves out of it, but it starts at home with parents.
Some parents who back their kid every time, instead of the teacher.
That didn't happen in my day. I tell you that.
That didn't happen in my day either. I got popped more than once.
That's right. Me too. The teacher says one thing. I did one thing wrong, and look out.
Yep.
Because you don't treat the teacher that way. You don't behave like that. blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, which is all true.
Right. So teachers don't feel like they have any backbone because they don't feel like they can enforce anything,
Right. Tough.
A wildlife refuge in Eureka Springs is now caring for a serval kitten that it rescued from Mississippi. Rescued it from Mississippi. Workers from Turpentine Creek picked up that cat this week and are now treating it for several medical issues, including bone fractures, a crushed pelvis, severe metabolic bone disease, and more. Turpentine Creek is asking for donations to try to help pay for the treatment. And you can follow the journey if you're interested on Turpentine Creek's Facebook page.
Okay. I don't know what happened to that serval cat, but man, it's been through the ringer, sounds like.
Sounds like it. They have 9 lives, though, so it's probably going to be.
They do have 9 lives. Maybe it's down to 1 left. Excuse me. We've reported on, man, just how out of control credit card debt is in this country. In fact, we recently set a new all-time record, which is not a good record. It's a terrible record of more than $1.1 trillion in debt. You and me, United States citizens, are in big trouble. Now, federal regulators just finalized a new rule that would cap most credit card late fees at $8. The average used to be, before this, $32 in late fees that people would face per month. More than 45 million people are charged late fees on credit cards every year. And that just makes the whole problem snowball.
Yes. All right. Aldi grocery store. A lot of people love Aldi.
Yeah, right.
They are going to be spending more than $9 billion to expand in the U.S. And about 330 of those stores will be coming to the Midwest and the Northeast. So right here in the Ozarks, perhaps, right? The discount grocer thinks that with inflation hurting budgets, now is the time to give more people a discount grocer. So that's interesting.
That is. I know people who swear by Aldi. They get clothes from Aldi. Aldi comes out with a new backpack and they buy the backpack. They love Aldi.
It's interesting because I have always liked it when I've gone in there. I just don't go in there very often.
I don't go in very often either. I'm always jarred by the you don't have a bag for me to use. So I try to, I got it all in my arms. I'm trying to do this walking out of the store because I don't have my own bag. I don't carry.
You got to be a regular. When you become a regular,
well,
you know all the things.
That's true. You have a quarter handy for the cart. Yeah, but I do like some of the stuff in there, some of the products. I know people who swear by it. That's for sure.
No doubt. Yeah.
The Missouri State basketball team is still alive in Arch Madness basketball tournament in St. Louis. They recorded really an emphatic win yesterday in the first round of the Missouri Valley tournament. The Bears smoked the Missouri State Racers by a score of 60.
No, the Bears smoked the Murray State.
What did I say? Missouri?
Missouri State.
Oh, yeah. No. The Missouri State smoked Murray State.
There you go.
You see how that went wrong.
Nailed it.
By a score of 60-35. So blowout. And kept the defense played really well. So today, the number 9 ranked Bears in that tournament will face the number 1 seeded Indiana State Sycamores, Larry Bird's old team. So good luck to the Bears. That's going to be a big upset if they could pull it out. And of course, we're all rooting for them to try to salvage this season. It's been a rough season for the Bears.
Go Bears, go.
And boy, what a night last night in Springfield. It was super cool. About 900 women gathered at Convoy of Hope's global headquarters to celebrate International Women's Day and the work Convoy does to empower women all around the world. Several dignitaries were there, and the featured guest was Jenna Bush Hager from the Today Show. She was great. I got to hear her, and she seemed, for somebody who really has grown up very, very privileged. She grew up, her grandfather was a president. Her father was a president. They have oil money. They've done well. Her grandfather was the head of the CIA at one point. So it was an interesting way of growing up, unlike most people. But she seemed very grounded and down to earth in this conversation that they had on the stage. So, for whatever that's worth.
Yeah. You know
But
why, though? They are, right?
Texans.
A family of faith. They are Christian family of faith and Texans.
Texans. They would chalk it up to being
God,
Texans, I think.
guns, and
Cattle.
what's the other one?
Oil.
And cattle.
Cattle.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel
Anyway,
like there's a third one, though.
she was great. She had great things to say about the work Convoy of Hope does, and a lot of women there. Close to 900 women had dinner in the big warehouse at Convoy, so it was cool. And last year alone, fascinating fact for you: Convoy of Hope worked to empower more than 48,000 women, and that number grows every year. And it's life-changing whenever that happens, because then they're able to provide for their family in a way that they were not able to before, because Convoy goes in, teaches women how to
fish,
how to run a business, gives them the equipment to run a business, helps them make sure they can run the business and manage the books, and then hands off and watches them thrive. It's great.
Yeah, that is awesome. All right. We told you earlier this week about the Eminence Volunteer Fire Department losing its firehouse to a devastating fire, as well as 7 trucks. Now there's an event to raise money for the Eminence Fire Department, and they're really hoping that people will turn out. The Jack's Fork Campground in Eminence will host a benefit on Saturday, April 6th. Saturday, April 6th, about a month from now. There will be live music, games, and fun for the kids from 11 a.m. until 8 p.m.
Good for them. I hope some other places do that as well, because, man, they lost everything for a volunteer fire department without where do they get funding,
Right. Yeah.
Hey, one more thing about the International Women's Day event. There's a great lady who came up to me afterward, and she's a big fan of the podcast. She watches and listens. She brought some, and you haven't seen these yet, Sarah, but I have them because I've been hiding them. But she had made some fresh strawberry muffins.
Nice.
And she brought them, so I have those.
Nice. Yes, please.
Upstairs for me on your floor where you are.
Hey, by the way, tell people about the podcast, because it is
cool.
getting a lot of traction lately, which is super exciting. Praise the Lord for that. And some new sponsors, Blue Current Credit Union just came on.
Yep.
And it's cool, because it is truly a place where we hope to bring you news every single day without making you want to,
drive off a cliff on your way to work
tires and get angry, Yeah. Yes, that's right. So anyway, tune in and tell your friends, please. And thank you.
Here's what used to happen when I was on the news. People would tell me that
I try to watch the news, but it's so depressing.
Well, yeah, they tell me
that what you're going to say?
Well, no, they would tell me that they can't watch the news anymore. And it wasn't that they didn't want to, but it seemed like it was also negative all the time. I agreed with them. I didn't like reading all the negative stuff all the time. So for this, we work to try to tell you the stuff you need to know. If a woman's being attacked and somebody trying to kidnap her, that could have been any of us, anywhere. So, those are things that you should know. We try not to do every crime in the world, and we try to do news you can use. So whenever there's a restaurant opening or closing, that's stuff you want to know about. We know that because we like to eat out too. And then when there's a story like this, we have to share it, because if you're a fan of Seinfeld, like I am, you will enjoy that. You'll remember the episode where George Costanza bought a 1989 LeBaron convertible solely because he was told that actor John Voight had once owned that car. That's why he bought the LeBaron, because he was going to get a Volvo. He was set on it. He studied and did all the research, and it was Volvo. But he ended up buying the LeBaron because of John Voight. So only to find out throughout that episode, spoiler alert, that John Voight, the periodontist, owned that car, not the actor John Voight, which is just funny. So now you can be like George, only better, by buying a car owned by Bruce Willis. the diehard Bruce Willis. It is a 2008, I should say, Bentley convertible, that's pretty cool. Bentley convertible with 89,000 miles on it. Got a lot of life left. Essex Auction will be selling the V12, V12, but the owner does not have a certificate to authenticate that the Bruce Willis actually owned it. So maybe it was Bruce Willis, the periodontist. I don't know. If you want to take a chance, either way, you're going to be in a sweet ride.
It's funny because we know Essex Auction. Is that Dusty?
Dusty, yeah.
Dusty. What's funny is if nobody gets it, he'll drive that thing right away and he'll do something fun with it because he's hilarious.
Dusty's great. He's hilarious, and he's a great auctioneer.
His wife is funny too, and so they're
builder.
funny together as an auctioneer couple.
Yeah. So anyway, you can be driving Bruce Willis's Bentley.
That's good. That's good.
So
I like it.
If you're interested in that, contact Essex Auction, ESSICK Auction, and find out when that is and how you can get involved.
That is too funny. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We hope you have a great weekend. And don't forget, once again, set your clocks forward by 1 hour when you go to bed Saturday night so that you're ready for church on Sunday morning.
You don't want to be late. If you're an hour late, everybody's going to know what happened.
Yep.
Be embarrassed.
All right.
See ya.
Anything else?
No,
Bye.
see you Monday.